Hey friends, welcome to 80s Do TV. I'm John, and I want you to think back to a time when our parents, well, mostly our dads, couldn't stop complaining about the cable bill. I remember my dad saying something like, "Why am I paying $40 for 72 channels when I'm only watching 5 of them?" If you were lucky, you had HBO, which was great appointment television for sure. In fact, I just picked up this legendary box of The Sopranos for my collection. I can't wait to start watching it again. You guys, this takes me back to like 1999, all right? Now I'll make a video about this set. But back to cable. It was so predictable, right? It was, in fact, overpriced, and when you compare it to streaming costs today especially, and worst of all, it wasn't even trying to innovate. It was just there. Now fast forward to today, and we've cut the cord. Except, wait a second, have we really? Turns out cutting the cord just meant tying ourselves to dozens of smaller, shinier cords disguised as streaming subscriptions. Each one of them comes with its own little bill that, when added up, totals, you guessed it, as much if not more than cable used to cost. And to top it off, they've managed to add the one thing we all hated about cable: commercials and infomercials and annoying preview bumpers to shows we're probably not planning to watch. And let me clarify, we had incredible commercials back in the 80s and 90s, but let's face it, there were also a lot of really bad commercials. Wouldn't you agree? All right, so let's talk about Netflix, the OG disruptor that changed the game. And by the way, remember when they used to mail you DVDs? The quaint little service you could get for under $10 a month. Feels like ancient history now.
My lady, we are the romance movie from Netflix. We hope our presents will be to your liking.
There's a movie waiting for you at home. Netflix. All the DVDs you want, starting at only $9.99 a month, no late fees.
Today, Netflix appears to have transformed into the greedy landlord of the streaming world. And its latest price hike has a lot of people screaming and in uproar. And here's why. As of January 21st, here's Netflix's new price matrix. The ad-supported plan is $7.99, up from $6.99. No ads, $17.99, up from $15.49. Now there's the premium tier, for those of us who need Ultra HD and 4 simultaneous streams. It's $24.99, up from $22.99. Now this is the plan I buy because I've got a family of 7, and there are times when, especially in the evening, when there's at least 3 TVs running simultaneously. Don't judge me. Some folks online are saying things like, at this rate, I half expect Netflix to roll out a $50 a month plan that includes literally nothing but a snarky email thanking us for our continued support. Some are even saying, I want their business to collapse, all right? That's pretty harsh. Now, social media is on fire with complaints. People are reminiscing about the good old days when Netflix was cheap and didn't make you choose between a subscription and your utility bill. But here's the thing, you guys. Are we really mad at Netflix, or are we just mad that we've grown accustomed to getting so much for so little? Now, let me put this in perspective for you, okay? And by the way, I'm not getting paid to say any of this. Netflix is not sending me any checks or anything like that. But somebody needs to have a sensible perspective about all of this, okay? Here's what I dug up with just a little bit of research. Now, Netflix's price hikes aren't just some money grab. They're a huge reflection of what's happening in the streaming industry and the streaming wars. Content is expensive, really expensive. Do you guys think producing Stranger Things is cheap? That show costs upwards of $30 million per episode. What about Arcane? Everybody's talking about that animation. Did you know that each episode of Arcane costs approximately $14 million to produce? $14 million, you guys, per episode. The entire series of 18 episodes across both seasons are estimated to cost $250 million. It's a lot of money. And Netflix isn't just churning out original shows like Wednesday or The Crown. They're also acquiring content, paying for licensing deals, and they're battling competitors like Prime Video, Apple TV+, Hulu, and such in a very saturated streaming market. So yes, these price hikes may sting, but they're not without reason. Now, Netflix is reinvesting that money into creating more of what we all want, like groundbreaking original content, better technology, and the eventual promise of live TV, which I'm really excited about. And if we're being honest, they're doing something cable TV never did. They're innovating. Now look, let's rewind to the history of cable for just a quick second. In the 80s and 90s, cable television ruled the airwaves, okay? It gave us MTV, ESPN, and endless channels of niche programming, including the Weather Channel, right? But for all its success, cable stagnated. It stopped trying to evolve. You still had to call customer service and haggle over bills like you were at a flea market. I remember my dad doing that on many occasions. And you know, the programming was bloated with stuff you didn't even care about. And there wasn't any customization, right? It's like they thought, hey, you know, we've got a monopoly here. Why bother improving it? So Netflix, really on the other hand of this, has always been able to shake things up, right? I mean, I really hate to say this, but they managed to put Blockbuster out of business. And that's basically because they created a whole new model for how we consume media. The thing with Netflix is that they saw what was wrong with cable, right? They had rigid programming, no on-demand options, overpriced packages, people complaining all the time. And they wanted to turn it on its head. You want to binge something at 2 a.m. tonight? Go for it. No commercials? You got it. High quality original programming? Done, right? Netflix has all of that. But here's the catch. Innovation isn't cheap. Unlike cable, which coasted along, for how many decades with the same business model, Netflix has to keep adapting to stay relevant. They're competing with Hulu, Disney Plus, Prime Video, and even YouTube, you guys. The powerful beast, YouTube, right? All while juggling the insane cost of producing and licensing content. At the same time, though, Netflix does need to tread carefully. I do admit that. They really do. The more they raise prices, the more they risk being perceived as, just another soulless corporation. And let's be honest, that's the last thing they want. People will forgive a lot in exchange for great entertainment, right? But if they start to feel like they're being gouged, I certainly do. If I feel like I'm being gouged, Netflix, it can find itself in the same boat as cable. Hated, mocked, and eventually we're going to abandon it, right? That's why my advice to Netflix is simple. Don't push your luck. Keep the price hikes gradual, deliver on the promise of high quality content, and if you're going to charge $25 a month, make sure you stay ahead of the competition. You have to do that. Because the second Netflix starts looking like cable 2.0, we'll all be out faster than you can say password sharing crackdown. Now, I know streaming costs are brutal, but let me share what I found to work well for my family, and hopefully it helps you cut costs. Here's my personal setup that balances great programming with minimal pain to the wallet. Well, depending on what your budget is, right? So my entertainment starts with Hulu plus live TV. This is my go-to for live sports, news, and network TV. It comes with Disney Plus and ESPN Plus, all for $95.99 a month. And because I can't live without football, I tack on NFL Red Zone for an additional $9.99 a month. The other one's Prime Video. This one's a no-brainer since it's included with your Amazon Prime membership, which costs about $139 a year. It's not bad. That breaks down to about $11.58 a month, basically pocket change, right? If that's the only service you're going with. Now Netflix, the luxury item, $24.99 a month for the premium tier because I like my 4K Ultra HD and I don't want my family fighting over who gets to watch TV. All in, that's around $140 a month or around $16.50 a year. Is that expensive? Maybe, depending on your budget. But I've spoken to a few friends of mine who are paying over $250 a month for their streaming entertainment. But compared to the $95 to $150 a month that cable companies currently charge, and factoring in the flexibility and customization of streaming, it's not a bad deal. Plus, I actually watch what I'm paying for, right? Unlike those random cable channels that only, played infomercials. All right, so looking ahead, the streaming wars are just heating up, you guys, okay? Netflix is gearing up to offer live TV. That's right, just like Hulu and YouTube. The irony of Netflix coming full circle and turning into cable, it would be poetic. Well, listen, when that happens, you can bet their prices to climb higher than Eddie Munson's guitar solo in The Upside Down. See what I did there, Stranger Things fans? That said, if any streaming service has a shot at being the all-in-one solution, it's going to be either Netflix, Prime Video, and YouTube. Between original shows, movies, live television, and YouTube's endless supply of creator content, these three have the best chance of cornering the market. The question is, who will come out on top? Will Netflix finally achieve the holy grail of streaming? Will Prime Video continue to leverage Amazon's massive ecosystem? Or will YouTube surprise us all by becoming the go-to platform for everything? Now notice I haven't said anything about Apple TV Plus, right? They could be a player too, but that's really not their focus right now. And I may do a separate video entirely on Apple TV Plus. Okay, so what's the perfect or the most ideal streaming service? You know, in my opinion, it's gonna look like this. Number one, it's gotta have a massive library of movies, right? And they've gotta be on demand. And it also has to integrate the libraries of maybe a few other a la carte services like HBO, Paramount Plus, something like that, okay? Number two, it's got to include live broadcasting, all right? That's super important. I mean, you need those television channels. Number three, continues to produce high quality original content. And number four, offers a growing menu of original in-platform games for kids and adults, and maybe even partners with a service like Nintendo. That would be ideal, wouldn't it? And number five, allows content creators to create their own channels, similar to what we're doing right now here on YouTube. And six, all of this can be had for around $100 a month, right? About $1,200 a year. Now that would be a game changer for streaming entertainment. So only time will tell. Until then, keep paying those subscriptions, folks, all right? We're living in the future we dreamed of. It just costs about $150 a month. All right, so the viewer question I have for you is, which of the streaming services is your favorite and why? And do you plan on sticking with Netflix if the costs continue to rise, but with a caveat, right? They continue to innovate and expand their services. I know I plan to. I really enjoy Netflix. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you like it. That would mean a lot to me. And if you're new to my channel, I'd be so grateful if you subscribed and dropped a comment below introducing yourself. I'd love to say hello. I read all of my comments and I always respond to the new subscribers. And as always, stay nostalgic, my friends. Stay retro.